Welcome to this deep dive.
Glad to be here.
Today, we're exploring something pretty intense, I think. That feeling of wanting to just walk away.
Yeah, stepping back from a task, a commitment, maybe even a calling.
Especially when you feel like you've done everything right, Been obedient, dedicated.
Right. It's not just being tired, is it? It's deeper. Like a real weariness settles in.
hmm Even if you still believe in the core thing.
Exactly. It's like the weight of it all just becomes overwhelming.
And for this exploration, we're using an excerpt from a video a listener shared. It's called When You Want to Walk Away.
And our goal here is really just to unpack the specific insights from this text.
Yeah, looking at its perspective on navigating that weariness, finding renewal when you feel like giving up.
We're sticking just to what's presented in this source material.
Okay, let's get into it. The text kicks off with a really strong quote from Jeremiah 20.9.
But his word was in my heart like a burning fire shut up in my bones. I was weary of holding it back, and I could not.
Wow. That sets a tone, right? Huge internal conflict from the get-go.
Definitely. And the speaker in the video immediately makes it personal. They share their own experience.
Saying things like, I didn't want to war. I didn't want to declare.
I didn't want to explain, discern, or prophesy. I wanted to walk away, just very raw.
And they're clear about why. It wasn't doubt, was it?
No, not lack of faith. They say, not because I didn't believe my Abba Father was faithful, but because the weight of the assignment felt heavier than the oil.
Heavier than the oil. That's a really striking image.
It is, like the burden just felt bigger than the grace or strength available for it.
And the response they described getting wasn't a scolding, but a revelation.
Yeah, an insight. You can't walk away because the word isn't in your mouth, it's in your bones.
Okay, that shifts things. It's not superficial.
Not at all. And then the text really leans into Jeremiah as the example.
Right. He did what was asked, delivered unpopular messages, ticked all the boxes.
But he was suffering for it. Mocked, beaten, isolated. The text mentions him being put in stocks.
Yeah, it quotes him saying things like, "You deceived me, Lord," and has speaking truth brought reproach and ridicule all day long.
Basically, the text argues he had every logical reason to just quit.
He really did. But then you circle back to that verse 9.
The one the text says wrecks us.
But his word was like fire shut up in my bones.
And this source presents that as the core reason why someone truly called can't actually walk away, even when they want to.
So it's not about being tough or having incredible willpower.
Nope. The text says not because you're strong, but because the mantle burns from the inside. It suggests it's not your effort keeping you there.
That's a really important distinction.
It is, and the text acknowledges burnout. It says burnout is real.
But so is the burning.
Yeah. It suggests that for many feeling that deep exhaustion, it specifically mentions prophets, watchers, intercessors. It's not because they missed God.
What's the reason given then?
Often it's because they haven't been seen, especially by people meant to be walking alongside them.
Oh, that resonates. Carrying a heavy load but feeling invisible doing it.
Exactly. And the text says this feeling pushes people towards trying to just serve silently or go back to being normal.
Or just hoping someone else picks up the slack.
Right. But the message this source offers is really direct.
What is it?
Listen to me clearly. You're not done. You're just dry.
Dry. Okay, not done, just dry.
And crucially, it adds, the same God who gave you the word will restore the wind behind it.
So the answer isn't just push harder, grit your teeth.
No, not according to this source. It says point blank. You don't need a platform. You need refreshing.
It gives permission to be human while holding holy fire. I like that.
Me too. And it even suggests that going silent or withdrawing might actually be a symptom of that dryness.
So on the outside, you might look okay. Still posting, serving, smiling.
Right. But inside, you're wrestling. Asking, did my obedience matter? Was it worth it? Did I miss something?
And that's where the disconnect can happen, according to this material.
Yeah. It says people are often trained to push through pain, but maybe not to pause long enough to pour out the pain before our Abba.
It emphasizes transparency over strength.
Exactly. He's not asking for your strength. He's asking for your transparency.
And this vulnerability connects back to the fire idea.
Deeply. The source says fire keeps you from flatlining. The speaker shares a moment of finally admitting total exhaustion, feeling broken.
Despite knowing God is God.
Right. And in that moment, hearing a quiet whisper that just shook them.
What was the whisper? What did it say?
According to the text, you don't need to fight for the fire's fighting to keep you alive.
Wow, okay. That completely flips the script.
Doesn't it? It shifts the burden. It's not all on you to keep the fire
The
going.
fire itself is active, working to sustain you.
Precisely. And the text links that fire directly to identity, to purpose.
It calls it the proof that you're still his.
That fire is the mark of the mantled. That fire is the reason your voice still matters.
It really drives home that sense of internal calling.
And wraps it up saying, you're not here by willpower. You're here because the word within you won't let you go.
So then the text speaks directly to those people feeling this, right? The weary prophet, the quiet server.
Yeah, the watcher, the intercessor on the edge, the one pouring out but feeling unseen.
And the message offered, framed as from our Abba Father, is one of permission.
Yes. You can lay the performance down, you can cry in my presence, you can admit that you're tired.
And the promise isn't punishment for that honesty.
No, the text says, I will meet it with oil. Refreshing, not rebuke.
Okay, so understanding the feeling is one thing. What about practical steps? What does the source suggest doing when you hit that wall?
It outlines a few things. First, return to the shoreline.
Shoreline. Like metaphorically or literally?
It seems both. Go back to the place of the encounter, that origin point of the calling or journey.
And once you're there, what? Perform. Pray hard.
No, just let that original fire, the deep word, speak again. Don't perform.
Okay.
Ask to breathe on the embers. It's not about demanding a huge blaze immediately.
Just a spark, a rekindling.
Exactly. Stop trying to be strong through your own effort.
Let your brokenness become an altar. That's powerful.
It is. Letting the source of the call remind you of the why.
Shifting focus back to obedience, not the audience or the outcome.
Right. And finally, maybe the most crucial, tell the truth in the secret place.
Because
You can't heal what you pretend isn't hurting. You have to be honest about the pain.
the speaker in the video shares doing this, right? Going back to a literal beach.
Yeah, they call it the altar that saved me. Didn't walk away, but walked deeper into that vulnerability.
Letting the quiet and the surroundings work on them.
And just being totally honest. Abba, if you don't refresh me, I won't make it. But if you do, I'll keep going.
Not because it's easy.
But because the fire is still alive. That raw honesty.
And they say that's when heaven met me.
Yeah, in that place of admitted brokenness.
So the concluding thoughts seem to wrap this up nicely. It's about choosing to lay down the performance.
Releasing that pressure we put on ourselves.
Going back to the swords, asking for that reignition, that refilling.
Acknowledging the weariness, yes, but declaring you're not quitting. You're being rebuilt.
Because the core conviction presented is that the fire never died.
It's quite a journey described there, from feeling utterly spent and unseen,
To intentionally going back, embracing vulnerability.
and ultimately trusting that internal fire to carry you through.
Okay, so pulling back, reflecting on this whole piece. The main distinction it's drawing seems to be between being truly done, like the calling has actually ended.
Versus just being dry, depleted, weary, often because you feel unseen carrying the weight.
Right. And the path to renewal, it suggests, isn't about more effort or silent suffering.
No, it's really about transparency, vulnerability,
Going back to that original encounter point,
and actively asking for that refreshing, that refilling.
which kind of brings it back to you, listening in. This idea that the internal call, that fire, it isn't solely reliant on your willpower.
Right. The text presents it as something powerful in itself, something that can actually sustain you.
So the final thought we want to leave you with, drawn straight from the source material, is this.
The text posits that this internal fire isn't just something you carry passively. It's actively fighting to keep you alive, connected to your purpose.
So what might it mean for you to shift your perspective, to move from feeling like you alone have to keep that fire going?
To trusting that the fire itself has this powerful, active presence working within you, maybe especially when you feel at your weakest.
Something to think about from this deep dive.